One small step for man, one giant leap.
Hi everyone, today we're going to calculate the values of a function without actually calculating the angle. Now here is a typical example. If 25 sine alpha minus 7 is equal to 0, and alpha is an angle between 90 degrees and 270 degrees, we want to determine the following with the help of a diagram. Now we want to find the cosine of 90 degrees minus alpha, and we want to find tangent squared alpha. Now determine the following with the help of a diagram simply means that we have to do it without a calculator and we have to show a diagram. So in other words, we're not allowed to calculate alpha and then use our calculators to calculate these two functions' values. So here we go. We have 25 sine alpha minus 7 equals 0, so we start with this original equation. Now what we want is, we just want the sine alpha equal to a ratio. So this coefficient needs to be a positive 1. So we're going to move all the things so that we just have the sine alpha equals to a ratio. So the first thing is we're going to move this constant to the other side, and we have 25 sine alpha equals 7, and then we divide with this coefficient, and sine alpha is equal to 7 over 25. Now this is the important part, because now the sine of its angle gives us a positive ratio. So now we're going back to our Cartesian plane. Now where is sine of an angle equal to a positive ratio? In quadrant 1 and in quadrant 2. Now this is quite important, because now in this diagram we cannot work in both quadrants. So we have to go and look at our other clue. They also tell us that alpha is an angle between 90 degrees and 270 degrees. So it kind of eliminates the first quadrant, because we have to be between 90 and 270 degrees. So we cannot be in the third quadrant because this ratio is negative in the third quadrant. So we have to be able to only work in the second quadrant. Got it? Now the next step is to quickly draw in our hypotenuse. So we start at the origin, we draw our hypotenuse, there it is, and we always connect the hypotenuse with the x-axis, there it is. Now we go and look at this angle, it's alpha, and then we put this angle between the hypotenuse and the x-axis, there it is. Now this is quite an important step. Go fill in all the other angles. So this is a 90 degree angle, and then this other, the third angle, will be 90 degrees minus alpha, because the interior angles of a triangle needs to be equal to 180. Okay, so now we've got all three our angles. Now the next step is to go and put in this ratio. So remember, what does sine alpha mean? It means my opposite side over my hypotenuse. So we have the angle is alpha, so we are looking at it from this side, and then our opposite side is a 7, and our hypotenuse is a 25, and then we put it in. Okay, now please remember this, it doesn't matter where we are working in the Cartesian plane, the hypotenuse will always have a positive value. So we always have to be careful about, is this y value or x value positive or negative? Okay, so now the only missing side is this x value, or the base. So we are going to calculate it by using Pythagoras, because this is a 90 degree triangle. So I'm going to say x squared is equal to, then we have the hypotenuse squared minus the height squared, and that gives us x squared equals to 576. Then we square both sides, and we end up that x is equal to, and please remember, when we square root a value, we always get a positive or negative answer, and in this case we have a plus or a minus 24. But now we have to look very carefully. This value needs to be negative because it's on the left side of the origin. So we are not going to move a plus 24, we're going to move a minus 24 and write it in there. So here we go. There goes my minus 24, and there it is. Okay, so now I've got all three sides of this triangle, and I'm also working in the correct quadrant. Now I can actually go and answer the questions. So I've got the cosine of 90 degrees minus alpha, and I write it down. Now, the cosine of 90 degrees minus alpha is easy to find because this is an angle inside our triangle. There it is. So we're looking at this triangle from this side, and remember the cosine means adjacent, which is now 7 over the hypotenuse. So the cosine of 90 degrees minus alpha is equal to 7 over 25. There we go. And now we also have tangent squared alpha, so I write it down. And remember, the tangent is my opposite over my adjacent, and the angle is alpha. So we're going to look at the triangle from this side. My opposite is 7, my adjacent is minus 24. So I say 7 over minus 24. We put it in brackets, don't forget, because it's to the power of 2. We put that square in, we do this calculation, and we end up with 49 over 576. And there we go. So in our next lesson, we're going to do the same kind of work, but we want to find the values of a function where the angle is not part of the triangle. See you again next time. Bye.